Coffee Break, today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for a coffee break. Today's tidbit, and joining us in the studio, Angela Jung for coffee break. Today's tidbit. Angela, hello to you.
Hi, SJ.
We went into a bit of a rabbit hole just now.
Yeah.
Like a weird rabbit hole. In that short span of time,
Yeah.
we went into a. I was saying, I asked her,
my.
do you know George Takei? Because I don't know if anybody caught this. Bruce, maybe you caught this. When I was reading Oh My Girl's new song, I said, oh my.
Yeah. And so he said, SJ said, George Takei, who's in Star Trek. And I was thinking the recent Star Trek.
Oh, is that what you
Yeah.
thought? Okay. And then I said, he came out, he's gay,
Yeah.
and he's come out in big. And then you're like, oh, in SNL? And I was like, the Asian guy? And I was like, he came out in SNL?
And so we were talking about a different guy that came out on SNL who's Asian.
And then somewhere it went to Bobby Lee. And then I was like, Bobby Lee's not gay.
And then I was talking about another SNL actor who is gay. And
It's just, I'm telling you, this is like the least weirdest rabbit hole. I'll just put it at that. We've been into some weird rabbit holes in the past. All right, Angela, what tidbit are we going to get into today?
so have you heard of a surprising visitor of South Korea's coast lately?
Like extraterrestrial
No.
visitor?
So like a sea animal, not a jellyfish, but
Sea animal, sea mammal?
sea mammal.
Like a whale?
Yes.
Males or mammals, ladies and gentlemen.
So
What?
so it was a little troubling. Last week, something quite rare happened. A massive sperm whale, or 항유고래 in Korean, was spotted in the shallow waters of Gwangyang port, and it stayed there for nearly 6 days before finally heading out back to sea.
Okay, so I know this is unusual.
Yes.
But I almost feel, am I going through a bit of a deja vu right now? Because Gwangyang Port, I remember seeing Gwangyang Port and then whale before. But let's talk about how unusual it is to see a sperm whale in this area.
Okay, so that type of whale are very deep sea dwellers. I don't know if you've seen a photo of them, but they're like the most iconic whale, and you don't see them nearby coast. They can grow up to 20 meters. And the one we saw recently in South Korea was estimated to be over 15 meters long, so it was possibly a young adult male or a full-grown female. And no one knows how it ended up in such shallow water. But it was first discovered on the morning of April 4th, and fishermen reported it, and soon Coast Guards arrived with marine experts to guide the whale back to deeper waters. But it swam away that day, but then by evening it had returned. And so
Even whales are wanting to come to Korea. Back and back again. So
Yeah.
they went, so 5 hour, a span of 5 hours, but
Yes.
it kept on coming back.
yeah, so and that was troubling because it's not supposed to be in such shallow
No,
waters.
no.
And because for 5 days it lingered in the area, the shallow waters there are only about like 5 to 10 meters deep. And so the whale's back
Ooh.
actually was exposed to the sun because the waters were so shallow, and the whale suffered from sunburns. But luckily they weren't life-threatening. But yeah.
Okay,
that
so
happened.
yeah, it's pretty bad when you're talking about 5 to 10 meters deep, and you consider how massive
Yes.
these mammals are. So did the experts guide the whale back to the deep waters? Like, how does
Yeah.
this work?
So like you know how whales they interact with like whale sounds like. You're good at making whale sounds.
I don't know if that's
for
a whale
some
sound.
reason. People like those. They have a very distinctive whale sound.
Mm-hmm.
So like making those whale sounds help. And the Ghost Card reportedly mostly used sound, but they also like made a tapping motion. So the whale would try to look back and follow the sound to gently encourage it out. They didn't use force. They used mostly sound.
So I mean, it's hard to use force for something so massive as a sperm whale. But what happened afterwards?
So by April 9th, the whale finally reached waters around 20 meters deep again, and experts were relieved and hoped it wouldn't turn back again. I looked for follow reports, and luckily it hasn't been spotted again, so it's back in deep waters.
I mean, again, because it's so unusual and it's so hard to sort of deal with such a massive mammal like a sperm whale, It must have been a relief for everyone that was involved with this operation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I kept on following the articles last week because not because I was particularly interested in whales, but it's just so unusual, right?
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of the people were very emotionally invested, like a drama unfolding, and people were actually cheering when the whale was going back into deeper seas. So yeah.
It got emotional. It got emotional.
I'm gonna talk about that actually, but
Our producer is going into the rabbit hole too. Now these are random stuff. We'll talk. Apparently, that's not so random because we're going to talk about. We have a picture though of, so you could tell how big it is.
yes.
By looking at, I guess that's like the port there, and then there's, the ship's kind of far away, but look how even that's probably like half the size of the whale.
Yeah, so deep down, its width is also very big. So it's very big and large, and you normally shouldn't be able to see the top of the whale or even the silhouette of the whale.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's just we're seeing it just because the water was so deep.
Oh,
It was so shallow.
It's the humpback whales that go up above the surface,
Yeah.
not sperm whales. Oh,
Yeah.
so I was like, wait a minute. I thought whales are always kind of surf. It's the humpback whales. I don't know who took a picture of that stuff, but it's pretty lazy because you could have taken the picture of the entire whale instead of half of it, just to show how massive it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, again, and we talked about how probably people got very emotional with the fact that they were able to successfully send it off to
Yeah.
deeper waters.
And also because where whales carry a very deep symbolic meaning in Korean culture.
It does?
Yes. You would have seen a lot of images. Our producer just mentioned it in the drama Extraordinary Woo.
Woo
Young-woo, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Woo Young-woo, the attorney Woo Young-woo's favorite animal is a whale.
Well, yes.
And that's because, whales symbolize a lot of hope,
Does it?
peace. Why don't we go? I have a lot more to talk about this. Why don't we go into this after listening to a song?
All right, perfect song to listen to. Actually, this is Agmil with Whale or Kore.
고래야 적어도 바다는 네가 갇혔으면 좋겠어. 고래야 헤엄하던 대로 계속해 봄했으면 좋겠어. 부러워 난 고래야 네가 그래야 심장 거대한 너의 그림자를 동경해 얇은 밤 달을 누비는 너의 여유
Kore, according to Fez. Whale, Angmyu. Talking about whales. You mentioned how whales are symbolic in Korea. What else? Like, you talked about hope.
Yes.
What is it?
So, whales in Korea are often seen as symbols of hope and miracles. And
Oh, miracles.
yeah, and that is large part due to the Seoul ferry tragedy in 2014. So the whale became like a kind of emotional guardian, imagined as leading lost students back home from the sea. You would have seen a lot of images of the yellow ribbon and the whale.
I have.
Yeah, and you can still find murals and a yellow whale memorial at Tanon High School in Ansan. So that was, a big thing.
We're 2
a
days
big part
away.
of it.
We're 2 days
Yes.
away until the anniversary.
Yes.
It's powerful. Again, it's much more than a mammal. Like, it carries a deeper meaning, right?
Yes. And a lot of South Koreans, find comfort in just the animal itself.
And is sperm whale like the most recognized? I always thought it was like the blue whale is the largest one,
Yes.
but it's hard to see that.
Do you know the whale in Moby Dick?
I know there's a whale, but I never knew. I thought it was.
Okay.
Was there a sperm whale?
Yeah, that is also
Oh,
a sperm
really?
whale. If you think of whales, you know how like you think of whales that are, you know, like a large fish.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know, like a large rectangular fish. Those kinds of whales are the sperm whale.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, again, it's just rare. It's so rare to see a sperm whale, like just a whale in general.
Yes.
But did you know that whales are eaten in Korea? But
Yes.
there's a law to it though.
Yeah, that's one of the problems actually.
You cannot catch whales.
Yes, no longer.
No. You can only consume whales that you have found dead.
Yes.
And Pohang, I believe, is like famous for it. And apparently it doesn't really have that much of an interesting taste. But I don't even know why I'm talking about this. But we talked about Uyangwoo and kind of the symbols that it
Yes.
has. Do Koreans like whales
I think they
in general?
do.
Because it's so rare that I've never met anyone that goes, I like whales. Unless your name is Uturiyangtiru Uri.
I was just about to say, if you're Uyong, you like whales.
Yeah.
No, I guess like people who like sea animals, whales and dolphins are among them.
But dolphins you can see. If you go to Jeju.
Oh yeah, you can go dolphin sighting.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but if you're like lucky enough, you can see dolphins and stuff.
Don't
Like.
people go whales seeing too?
They do?
Like in Hawaii and stuff.
Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
like California is big on that
Yeah.
stuff. And what is it? If you go to like the West Coast, there's a lot of whale sites.
I guess they have like this mystery to them because you can't really see them often. They live deep in the sea.
Yeah.
And if you see one, it's very lucky. You have to be very lucky. So again, it relates to it being like a symbol of miracle and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, right? Like if it's hard to see and you happen to catch it, I mean
Yeah.
there's obviously going to be some sort of like symbol to it. But I didn't know that there are actual other species of whales that you can see. There are, I guess, home to a number of species of whales in Korea.
So Korea's coastal waters are home to 31 species of whales and dolphins, including sperm whales. I did not know that. I thought like whales were more often seen in, I don't know, Western seas for some
Why?
reason.
Because all the books,
Yeah,
all the books
no, really,
and movies
no.
and stuff like
You know,
that.
because in Western media, whales
Yeah.
often appear a lot as villains. Moby Dick, Pinocchio's monster was also modeled after a
Moby
whale.
Dick was bad.
The whale yes.
I did not know. I mean, it's a whale. I mean, it wasn't trying to be mean, was it?
I mean, no, it wasn't trying to be mean, but it's like the main character's growth happens because of the whale.
I'm gonna be honest with you here. I've never read Moby Dick, so
Yeah, it shows. It shows.
let's just put it this way.
Yeah, but like, despite the fact that South Korea is home to a lot of whales, whale protection is actually quite limited. You mentioned that there are laws to protect it, but they're still seen as resources.
How?
So under Korea's Whale Resource Conservation and Management Notice, it's not like a whale Marine Mammal Protection Act like exists in Western countries. They're seen as resources as food for their meat, for their oil, and it's kind of an outdated approach that contrasts with other countries that have whale protection law or how marine mammals are protected under law. So yeah, there needs to be more efforts to change that, in my opinion.
Now, I did not know that whales contribute to the environment.
Oh, yeah. So the IMF released a study showing that whales absorb an average of 33 tons of CO2 each.
How?
That's amazing, right? Well, I don't know exactly how, but like how humans
Breathe out CO2.
CO2. I guess whales do the opposite of that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And if their populations return to, pre-whaling levels, the carbon absorption would rival reforesting an area the size of the Sahara Desert.
Jeez.
Yeah. So protecting whales helps fight climate change as well.
But I didn't know, and this seems like even more massive figure considering the fact that you don't often see it. But over 1,000 whales die each year due to
Yes.
accidental entanglement because there's like so much garbage, right? Nets
Yes.
and things like that.
And,
Illegal hunting.
illegal hunting is
Japan.
a problem. Yes. But like
That's a big figure. Because if you look at like the pods of whales, they're moving around with like pods of like 4, 5, or 6 and stuff like that, and you don't think that there are thousands of them. And when over 1,000 whales die each year, seems like a massive thing. But again, also learning for the first time today's random tidbit that I got that they're environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
They're contributing to the environment.
And, as you mentioned, like they are hunted very heavily for their oil because their oil can be processed into fuel.
Really?
Yes, you didn't know that. Their name, the sperm whale, actually comes from like that valuable oil. I looked up the meaning behind it.
The oil? Where's the oil come from?
So like
From like their
body fat.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. That's right.
So their body fat can be processed as fuel, and that's one of the main reasons they were like heavily hunted. But that's why they need to be protected, not only just for climate, but because they are a very very fascinating species, and they're very highly intelligent creatures.
Also what's very valuable is whale barf. You know about this?
No, I didn't.
When whales throw up, they I forgot what it's called, the actual term, but they use ambergrease.
Yes.
That's
I
used
have heard
for
of it.
very high-end perfumes and things like that. It
yes,
goes for like hundreds
yes.
of thousands of dollars. All right, well, again, a random whale sighting, but I think the important thing is here, it is a red flag that something that's supposed to be in deep waters are seen in shallow waters. Angela, thank you very much for today's tidbit. Have a safe one. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, we talked about whales. This time, let's take a listen to YB with Hinsuyam Gore or Blue. Oh, actually, with a different song here. NCT Dream instead. Dive Into You, Kore.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for a coffee break. Today's tidbit with Angela Jung, our assistant extraordinaire. Hello, Angela.
Hi, SJ.
Are you down today?
No.
Your coffee break. Today's tidbit was a little bit less energetic. Like it was never energetic, but it was less energy than usual.
Oh.
Like a tad little.
Maybe I was going for calm, Calm
It's like
vibes.
calm every day. Not once have you gone, coffee break, today's tidbit.
I don't know. Coffee break doesn't really, in my mind, it doesn't sound very energetic.
But when you have a lot of coffee and
Yeah,
the
you do get
caffeine does hit
energy,
you.
yeah.
Are you sensitive to caffeine, by the way?
No,
yeah, you drink a lot of
I drink a lot of coffee. I can be sensitive to coffee.
No, I knew someone who was like very sensitive to caffeine, and then they start like shaking, and they can't do any of that stuff. But coffee does not work on me anymore. Anyways, let's go into today's random tidbit. What tidbit do you have for us?
We're diving into something that sounds futuristic, but is actually happening right now.
The future is now.
The future is here.
Wait. What slogan? I feel like that was like someone's slogan. The future
is
is
now.
now. It's like I feel like some like company did this. Anyways, so
Back
the
to the
future,
Future?
huh?
Back to the Future?
I have not watched that movie.
Oh my
List of famous movies that I have not watched. Back to the Future 1 and 2. Well, there's 2, right?
And 3.
There's a 3?
Yeah.
How many times can you go back to the future?
I don't. That's proof that you haven't watched the film.
How many times can you back? Our producer gave me like 50 billion question marks after what I just said. I never watched Back to the
Oh,
Future.
God, you are so uncultured, SJ.
Why does that mean not cultured?
Anyways.
There's all the cultural stuff that I've
Well,
done.
I will culture you today about
Yes.
futuristic stuff.
Sure,
We're going to talk
sure.
about virtual artists, virtual idols,
Okay.
and virtual celebrities.
I've heard of virtual singers. I've heard of virtual idols.
Yes.
Virtual what is it? Celebrities?
Celebrities.
That's a little bit different for me.
So, like virtual influencers. You haven't heard of that.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, I thought that. So, like, I wanted to discuss that because I recently went down a rabbit hole after reading an
course you
article about how. Do you know that, like, there's a human singer called Don? Ton?
Idon?
Yes.
Idon?
Yeah, him.
Hyuna's ex?
Someone's ex.
What can I say? Whose ex it is? Yes. Yes.
He recently re-emerged as a virtual artist named Eden Maverick. And I
So
was
he's
like,
Eden Maverick. He's gonna be like Caucasian now.
and so it's like, I had no idea what that even does. Like virtual artists have a nationality? I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, what does that even mean? Dawn? I know because he's E. Dawn.
Yeah.
E, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm E. E Dawn. So like maybe Eden?
Yeah.
But Maverick.
I have no idea. So like I went down.
Okay.
And so it's just like apparently it's his virtual alter ego. It's like his reimagined AI version
An
of
alter
himself.
ego in AI.
Yeah. I think that's like peak.
Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought like what your alter ego would be like?
Well, no, I haven't thought about like alter ego, but I have thought about like would it be possible to implant the whole of my being, my brain into like a, I don't know, a computer
No?
and like, you know, just don't have a body but live in like on the internet or stuff.
So random.
No, but like there are dramas
Yes.
about it, like Black Mirror.
Yes.
And I thought this was kind of more like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, Eden hasn't like uploaded his brain somewhere, but he's made himself.
Yeah, and it's in the virtual world.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, so it's
Do we
like,
have a picture of how he looks like, by any ways? No, right?
there is.
There is.
Yeah, so like he's like an influencer. You have to eat, yeah. That's the photo.
It looks very similar to how he looks though.
yeah.
Like, so it's not like he looks very different. Like, I have a virtual self.
Yeah, but it's like, it's weird. It's uncanny.
Yeah, I mean, but I could see the similarity though. I could definitely see how he looks like. But anyways, virtual identity is
Yeah.
like real human now then.
Well, kind of. I mean, like, it's not just like a musical stage name or anything. It's like an entire persona. And I looked it up, and as Eden, Edon,
Okay.
as Eden Maverick, I'm getting confused here.
Edon as Eden Maverick.
Yeah, can create digital art, AI generated video, fashion, even literature. And like he apparently made his official debut as an artist at an art fair in London under this new persona.
Interesting.
Right. It's very, I can't get my head around it, but like I think it's very interesting because it blurs the line between like identity and imagination. And
But you're actually doing something with that, though. It's not you're kind of going like, hey, I made myself into an AI form and that's just it. It's not doing
No,
anything, but he's actually doing something
Yeah.
with this.
and
So is this like an art project?
yeah, kind of, I guess. Well, but I think it's just an example of a bigger trend.
Okay.
Of like the rise of virtual idols, virtual performers,
Yes.
virtual celebrities. It's all part of it.
Okay, so the thing is, right now we're in 2025.
Yes.
But before even the turn of the century,
Yeah.
there was Korea's first ever virtual artist.
Yeah, I did not know that. I just found out.
It was because you were like a baby when it came out. You're talking about Adam.
Yes, so you know about it.
Yes.
Korea's first virtual singer, Adam, debuted way back in 1998, and his debut song was actually apparently a hit in South Korea.
It was.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, like obviously because of technology, he's not as smooth looking as Eden Maverick.
No.
But he was 3D rendered, voiced by a real singer named Park Sung-chul, and he also even appeared in commercials, so he was a real celebrity.
Yeah, so Adam came out in, do you remember, what is it, Sugar Man? The show Sugar Man?
Yeah, I do.
And so they were trying to figure out, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is so confusing. So someone got Adam right. And then all the hosts were like, wait a second, how are we going to bring in Adam? And then Park Sung-chul, who was the voice of Adam,
Came in.
had come out. And so they were all kind of, because Adam came and disappeared very mysteriously.
There are actually jokes about it.
Yes.
So I looked it up, and there were rumors that he died of a computer virus,
Yes.
or like he went to the army because he's a South Korean virtual performer.
There was the other one, Y2K came, and
Yeah.
he was deleted.
He was
He
deleted.
was deleted. It was one of
Yeah.
them. But this is, again, I remember this. It was, even at that time, it was unimaginable.
Yeah, it was very ahead of its time, and back then the tech wasn't quite there.
No.
But because animations were very expensive, very limited, but oh god, I think it's still amazing how it started in 1998, and it's still now
It's
a
now
real
really
thing.
taking off though. Like
Yes.
after Adam, there was
It died
it
off.
died off and stuff like that. But now we're really seeing apparently a lot of virtual artists come out,
Yes.
which I'm getting confused. I got confused because I didn't know there were so many. Oh, let me show you Adam. Look at this good-looking fella, Adam. Look at his nose. Look at his nostrils.
You know, the first time I saw it, I thought of The Sims.
Yes.
It looks like a Sims character.
It does. But I feel like they put what they thought was everything that you needed in order to look could be considered handsome, right? Big
I
eyes.
searched it, and apparently it was never official, but they modeled him after actor Wonbin and Song Seung-han.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that, definitely. Yeah, I could I could see it.
Yes.
Because the top part is Wonbin. If you cover the nose and the mouth,
Yes.
it's Wonbin. If
The
you cover
bottom
the
is-
eyes and it's only the nose and the lips, it's Song Seung-han.
Yeah.
I could
I
see
can
it.
see that. But like, isn't it amazing how people can get attached to a virtual artist?
See now that's a different topic now, which
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Do have a very big fan base because they can interact with fans. One of the biggest names right now is a boy group called Plave. Have you heard of it?
I've only heard of it because I think we played the song
Yes.
once.
So they are a 5-member group that debuted in 2023. They've like charted Korean music shows. They've been played on our show as well. They're not just animations. Like they are, so virtual idols are digital performers who exist in cyberspace, but like real life artists provide vocals and motions. And, you know, virtual reality 2D, 3D characters take the stage and they interact with the audience. So Plave is like that. But they are different from Adam or earlier attempts at virtual artists because, like, they are virtual, but they are fully self-produced. They aren't really that different from K-pop idols in that they dance, make their own songs, interact with fans, even do concerts.
Hold up. Hold up. Time out. They interact with fans?
Yes. Like they even do, fan meetings through screens. it's very next generation stuff. They even do concerts.
They did a concert at
Yes.
the Olympic Hall.
Yeah, so-
That's one of the biggest concert venues.
Yeah. So they attracted over like 70,000 concurrent users during their pre-sale of their ticket concerts. And, I have no idea how it's done, but apparently fans fill up the concert venue and look at the screen, but the concert itself is done live. It's not like pre-recorded because you could pre-record a virtual artist, right?
Right.
But it's like all the performance is done live.
Right, because there are the voices
Yes,
to each of
exactly.
those characters.
Exactly.
Which, again, I wonder, eventually, are they going to get the recognition that they deserve? So, fans love the character
Yes.
and not necessarily the people behind them.
No, so
That's
like
messed up.
so fans interact with the virtual idol on screen. There's a real person behind the animation, but like they don't look up who's behind the character, and it's the idol. It's the virtual idol that the fans love.
Do they just look like very anime-like, or is it like
Yes.
very realistic? It's anime?
No, it's completely anime-like.
I mean, I know people who got married to like anime pillows and stuff like that.
No, but
it-
like pillows have a form, right?
oh yeah, this doesn't even have a
Yeah.
form.
So they just look like characters.
This is interesting. All right, we're going to continue to talk about this virtual idol stuff, but I think it's only right that we play a song from Plave. This is Plave with Pump Up the Volume.
네, 여기는 플레이비오 스페셜 DJ 발디 영재입니다. 다음 곡은요, 요즘 테라에서 가장 핫한 아스테르의 외계인들이죠. 플레이브가 부릅니다. 펌프 업 더 볼륨!
난 아무것도 몰랐어 널 향해 심장이 뛰고 있단 걸 돌이켜봐도 정말 서툴렀던 거야 우물쭈물 망설였던 난 그만 짜릿한 이 순간 사람 중에 너 하나밖에 안 보여 많은 사람 중에 너 하나밖에 보이지 않아 사랑해 말하지 못한 날 이제 난 이렇게 줘달래 내 맘 그곳에 기다려준 너에게 나 말할게 사랑해 이 말을 못했어 너를 사랑해 참 오래 걸렸어 진심 어린 이 말 저건 다 지웠다 했지 과연 네 맘도 같을까봐 걱정이 됐으니 잠깐 기다리면 돌아오겠지 잠깐 시간 나면 전화하겠지 생각지 못한 결말일까봐 두려웠었어 이젠 더는 신경 쓰지 않을래 널 두고 나 짜릿한 이 순간 바래왔던 이 느낌 바보야 네 얘기란 말야 많은 사람 중에 너 하나밖에 안 보여 많은 사람 중에 너 하나밖에 보이지 않아 사랑해 말하지 못한 날 이제 난 이렇게 줘달래 내 맘 그곳에 기다려준 너에게 나 많은 사람 중에 너 하나밖에 안 보여 많은 사람 중에 너 하나밖에 보이지 않아 사랑해 말하지 못한 날 이제 난 이렇게 줘달래 내 맘 그곳에 기다려준 너에게 난 말할게 영원히 숨이 차 말하지 못한 날 이제 난 이렇게 줘달래 내 맘 그곳에 너를 향해 달려갈게 진심이야
Pump up the volume. Plave. Bruce says, I'd rather look at Angie's coffee cup.
Yeah, we were showing a picture of Plave on screen during the song.
It's so weird, guys. It's so weird. What
It's-
world are we living in right now?
Change your mindset. It's not weird. It's a new culture. It's a new subculture that is not sub anymore.
Yeah, the Play fans are gonna kill me virtually now.
But we're not done yet.
I know, we got more, right?
Yeah.
We got more.
So, like, another very big virtual idol, this group actually started it all is, another major name is 이세계 Idol or Otherworld Idol. Very fitting name. They were formed through an online audition show created by an internet
You gotta be
broadcaster
kidding me.
and debuted in 2021.
You gotta be kidding me. There
Yes.
was an audition for virtual anime character.
Yes.
Let's look at 이세계 Idol. This is beyond out of this world right now. They did an audition for these characters right now. They all look like manachek characters.
That's the appeal. So this 6-member virtual girl group blends idol culture with internet streaming culture with animation aesthetic. That's why fans love them. So if you like this, then you will love them. They're like a crossover between K-pop and animation. They release albums again like Plave. They release albums, hold offline concerts. I did some research. I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand the whole of it, but
Sure.
the group is more like a lifestyle brand. So like, like these groups, Plave or 이세계 Idol, they thrive by building like immersive universes with like world views, and it's like fans invest and interact in this universe not only emotionally but also like financially. They like there are kits that fans
oh
can
my
buy.
goodness! Like what is it? Like dress up games?
Yes, like there are kits that fans can buy that help expand this worldview, be a part of it. I don't really understand it, but it's
No, I understand.
it works.
It's smart. No, it's smart.
Yes.
Because if you can purchase stuff that you want your whatever members of the Isekai Idol to wear, and you're paying, and you know fans, they spend, like they spend.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that.
And for them to go like, oh my goodness, they're wearing, because in real world, you can't give, let's say, a shirt to, I'm going to name a random V of BTS.
I mean, technically you could.
But he's not going to wear it.
I mean, he might, but the chances are very slim. But like, you know, they could just sell a t-shirt online and, you know, if a lot of fans buy it, they could just make the virtual idol, I'm not going to say character, virtual idol wear it. I mean, it's very futuristic. But the thing is, it's not just like small indie projects. It's not like just, you know, we were just talking about how Plave isn't actually managed by an entertainment group. They are managed by an IT company. So it's more technology based. But like big entertainment companies, major companies are also launching these virtual idols. Have you heard of Navis?
It sounds like some sort of navigation system.
No, so Navis, it's spelled weird like Espa,
Yes.
is a virtual character connected to Espa's world.
Oh, I've heard of them. I've heard of them.
Like
I've heard
that.
of them.
And other big K-pop companies like H, like K, they are also in development of their own virtual idols.
So apparently there's like other idols.
There are a lot of
Apoki?
idols.
Apoki? Chris Rhodes says, Apoki is a fun virtual idol. She does some really good music. And then Claire says, oh yeah, I love Apoki, Chris. So apparently there are a lot.
My face was suddenly, what? But like, I did some research. Yes, there were a lot of groups besides the famous two ones that I mentioned. And this is like apparently the next big wave in entertainment. According to industry reports, the global virtual human market, this sounds so not right, but the global virtual human market is expected to grow from $43.3 billion in 2023 to $1.82 trillion by 2033. So it's a huge market now.
I will understand.
It's happening.
I won't. There was a phase when I liked Android number 18 in Dragon Ball.
Okay.
She's a cartoon character, but I thought she was very pretty. And so I could understand why people... And not to mention, you don't have to worry about scandals.
Yes.
Imagine there are scandals amongst the virtual idols.
No, but like that's why companies like them, because like they can't have personal idols. They can't age, or well, they can if the characters age, but like
The
technically,
voices are going to age. It's what's gonna
yeah,
happen.
technically they don't age. They can perform endlessly. And apparently they're relatively cheap to produce. So yeah.
That's... Ladies and gentlemen, this is the day that I see Isaac or like Pretty Little Iris invite Plave or Epoki or Topoki into the studio is the day I'm just going to be like, wow, we are back to the future. This is
back to the future.
All right, Angela, thank you very much for today's... I have to tell you, this is going to take me a while to kind of process all this. This is a little too much for me. But anyways, have a safe one, and we'll see you again.
See you tomorrow.
All right, we talked about Isekai Idol. Let's take a listen to a song from them. Kidding. All right, it's time for our today's coffee break. Today's tidbit, and joining us in the studio, as she always does, Angela Jung. Angela, hello to you.
Hi, SJ.
Angela, I got coffee today. And I thought our producer bought this for me.
For Lou.
She was like, do you want coffee? And I was like, yeah, I want coffee. And then, I thought he bought it for me. And then I don't know who For Lou is. But, he did buy it. Oh, I thought it was like a fan. Is this? I thought it was from like a fan meeting or something like that. What?
It's just an extra cap.
Oh,
Sleeve.
it's an extra sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind. I appreciate. Thank you. I thought it was from like fans, and he got a free coffee, and then
And it was just giving it to you?
Yeah, I thought he was just giving it to me, but I appreciate it. It was good. I needed the coffee today. What's today's tidbit?
Well, today's tidbit might feel a little heavier than usual.
Oh, it's
but,
very heavy today.
Yeah, but I think it's important to discuss it. We're going to talk about sinkholes, that the sudden ground collapses. They've been happening all over nationwide, and I think we need to talk about them and what they reveal about safety in our cities.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the numbers later on, but when I saw the numbers, I was shocked. I did not know that. and it was like 500 something, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a little over 500.
Yeah, it was over 500.
I wasn't going to discuss the exact number,
Yeah.
but yeah, we are seeing especially a lot of them these days. Just a few weeks ago in March, there was a really big one, right? A massive sinkhole appeared near Taemyeong Elementary School in Gangdong-gu, Seoul. It was 20 meters wide and 20 meters deep, so that's like a size of a swimming pool, but vertically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tragically, an unsuspecting motorcyclist was pulled in and later found dead in it. And just these random sinkholes are happening all over Seoul, right in the middle of the city.
Roads.
Yes, roads.
Roads where cars, and I mean, it was. I hate to use the word lucky because, again, unfortunately, a person died from this incident, but it could have easily been more cars in that area.
Yes. And, what's more concerning is that that case wasn't just an isolated case. In fact, just before I was coming in, I was checking the news and two more happened in Seoul at 5:30 p.m. today. One at near Apgujeong, and one near Dolgo ji역. And then just last night, a sinkhole occurred due to ground subsidence on a road near Incheon Bupyeong Station, which is a very crowded area. Fortunately, there were no casualties there, but the suspected cause is the melting of the upper soil layer during the construction of an underground passage. And not only that, just a few days ago on April 13th, another sinkhole appeared in front of Eoge Station in Mapogu, and people are really on edge because, understandably, because as you mentioned, these are happening in high traffic areas like near subway stations, middle of the roads, but most troubling, I think, near schools as well.
Yeah. There was recently, it was going around the internet. My wife sent me like a map.
Yes.
With places in Seoul that's sinkhole risk areas. I could not believe how many there were.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot. And, a lot of that is because, as I mentioned, construction. The one that
Underground constructions and stuff
you know
like
how
that.
you can see Seoul is always under construction, right? So a lot of these are happening, and the cause of this is, there are a lot of causes, but like climate change is one of them. Have you noticed how there's a lot of intense rain in South Korea these days?
It's like it's either there's a drought,
Yes.
or when there is rain, it's just too much.
Yes, and last weekend Seoul saw crazy weather. It was snowing, then raining, then sunny, then hail was falling.
There was hail.
Yeah. So climate change, intense rain is part of it, but what's more concerning is the state of Seoul's infrastructure.
Yeah, so there was some information that came out today that was presented by a DP lawmaker to the National Assembly, why there were so many sinkholes happening, and let's talk about that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's because of the sewer system.
Yeah, Seoul's sewer system. So about 30% are over 50 years old. In places like Jongno-gu or Yongsan-gu, nearly half the pipes are aging beyond safe use.
Yeah.
And apparently, as you mentioned, according to the DP leader, 45% of the sewer pipes in Seoul are old. And when sewer pipes crack or burst, water leaks into the soil, washes away, and creates hollow pockets underground. And then one day, without any notice, it just gives in and a sinkhole. That's how a sinkhole appears.
Yeah. So they were saying that over 45% of these sinkholes that happened in the past 5 years nationwide were because of damaged sewer pipes.
Yes.
Was what it is. We were saying initially we thought that because there's a lot of like new subway lines being created,
Yes.
and so they're doing a lot of construction underground. We thought it was that, but a lot has to do with the pipes.
Yes.
Water pipes was I think 30-something% damaged water pipes.
Actually, the ground construction isn't completely unrelated because the ground construction actually affects the sewer pipes. The vibrations actually makes them more prone to bursting. And as you mentioned, because they are already damaged, the ground construction makes holes appear more easily.
And we saw that it was in Apgujeong area,
Yes.
Gangnam area, and certain areas, and so. When there was flooding going on, right? And then Gangnam always floods because they have a
Yes.
very old sewer system.
Exactly.
And so when you have an old sewer system, there's going to be damage, and that's what's causing the leaks and things like that. But
Yes.
what's being done though?
Well, so Seoul City is investing about 200 billion won a year to replace around 100 kilometers of pipe. but obviously it's not enough. We're talking about thousands of kilometers of aging systems that need urgent repair. And since these repairs aren't exactly visible, they often get overlooked until disaster strikes, like what is happening right now.
Yeah, so like these sinkholes, again, I mean, they vary in many, many sizes,
Yes.
right? We only kind of see the big ones happening on the news, but the fact that there was over 500 nationwide in the past 5 years, it's alarming here. And again, I can imagine it brings up trust and accountability concerns too, right?
Absolutely. That's why city officials are pushing for more transparency. The Seoul Metropolitan Council is calling for the results of all ground-penetrating radar surveys to be made public so the public can access them.
Yeah.
And they also want the replacement of old infrastructure, especially water and sewer lines, to be significantly ramped up.
I know this is kind of messed up, but they forced the Seoul city to reveal like the sinkhole-prone areas. But you know why they didn't reveal it initially? Because the cost of real estate. Yeah, and
of
so
course.
they're afraid that it's going to damage. But
real estate and your actual safety.
if you know where the risk-prone areas are, you could do all the construction, you fix it up and stuff like that, and then avoid actual accidents happen where your real estate is going to really fall if that happens.
And, this whole problem is bigger than just filling in a hole. Like it's about maintaining the foundations of everyday life. It's just, I think this issue is really hitting people emotionally too these days, especially emotionally. It's really about protection, I think.
All right, before we move on here, let's take a short song break. I think we all need it. Chowning with Forever and Ever, 영원히, 영원히.
너의 손을 꼭 잡고서 영원히 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 너와 함께 있고 싶어 라라라라라 사라지지 마 흐려지지 마 영원히 영원히 여기 있어줘 사랑은 시들고 노래는 잊혀진다고 그렇게 사람들 말하곤 하지 언젠가 너도 시들어 기억에서 사라질까 계절이 흘러가 버리는 것처럼 너 흐리지던 골목길 너와 걷던 그 길 별을 헤며 어느 밤에 나누던 꿈들 다시는 돌아가지 못할 그 말들 나른한 눈가를 적시는 라라라라라 그저 노래를 부를 뿐 왔다 가버리는 모두가 잡아둘 순 없으니까 라라라라라 사라지지 마 흐려지지 마 영원히 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 라라라라라 너의 손을 꼭 잡고서 영원히 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 너와 함께 있고 싶어 라라라라라 사라지지 마 흐려지지 마 영원히 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 흐려지지 마 흐려지지 마 영원히 영원히.
That was Chowding with Forever and Ever, 영원히, 영원히. I just thought we needed some comic relief. I wanted my face to come out on the camera. I don't know who this is. Faz says, wait, what are the SJ's little covered thing? Is that Oh My Girl? I thought it was For Lu because it says For Lu. Is there no group called For Lu, or is that...
Or is it Lou?
Who was... I know there was like a group fan meeting that
Yeah.
happened today. I just don't know who it was. And I apologize. I don't know much about the idol groups. Anyways, Angela, these recent sinkholes, again, I mean, it's scary enough on its
Yeah.
own, but you were saying that they're stirring up even deeper emotions.
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously for many Koreans, April is, a very emotional month.
Yeah.
They evoke memories of the Seoul ferry tragedy. It's been over a decade now, but like every time there's a public safety incident, especially one involving everyday places, right? Like roads, schools, there's like this collective feeling of how could this happen again? Why is this still happening? And I think it's just, this year the sinkhole near the elementary school happened like just days before the anniversary of Seoul, so more people are concerned about safety in the cities these days.
There were just, like from end of last year to all of this year, there were just too many accidents.
Yes, definitely.
Right, just too many tragedies, and it's been a really rough year here in the country. Not to mention again the symbolism, right?
Yes.
The symbolism it really does hit you hard.
Yeah, I think these accidents have really affected, not the general public, but also like our generation as a whole. It's now even, as I mentioned, the Seoul ferry happened 10 years ago, over a decade ago, and now it's appearing in media, and any Korean who watches media representation of like these accidents, public accidents happening, can immediately relate to that. So yeah, I think it's,
Like, is there an example for you?
So I really thought about this recently. I recently saw a drama that really reminded me of all these tragedies. There's this drama called 내가 죽기 일주일 전. The English title is Way Back Love, but the Korean title literally translates to My Last Week Before I Die.
Jeez.
And the drama is about characters Hiwan and Namu, and hints at a tragic accident that happened at school when the two were in high school around 2018, and how that affects Hiwan as an adult. And in last week's episode, there was a line where Hiwan's younger sister gets angry because Hiwan tries to prevent her from going on trips or going out with friends, in fear of accidents happening.
Yeah.
And I think everyone just immediately thought of all these accidents that happened in South Korea. And I think the scene just showed how incidents like, sinkholes, the Itaewon tragedy, the Seoul ferry disaster, how they shatter the illusion that tomorrow will come no matter what. And how it reminds us that safety isn't something we should take for granted.
I'm not gonna lie. Even when my son goes to little trips from his preschool, it's a short trip to I think he went to recently a strawberry farm or something like that. It's maybe a 20-30 minute drive. Even then I'm just going oh my goodness, I hope nothing happens. I hope nothing happens. School bus,
It's
I hope nothing happens.
embedded in our memory.
No, it really
Yes.
is. Very quickly though, are there systematic changes happening in response
Yes,
to all
there
this?
are efforts. Busan held an emergency meeting yesterday. They're deploying AI-based radar systems, doubling field inspection teams, improving early warning tech. It's encouraging, but also a reminder of how reactive our systems are.
Definitely so. Guys, again, I mean, we often go through these tragedies. It's one thing to remember and mourn the tragedy, but also to make sure that it doesn't happen again, that
Exactly.
it doesn't repeat itself. Angela, thank you very much. I know this was a very heavy one, but thank you very much for all the researches. I know there's a lot of updates too last minute, but we'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, sending her off, let's take a listen to a song here from Shiny with Honesty.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
It's time for our weekday coffee break. Today's tidbit with Angela joining us in the studio. Angela, hello to you.
Hi, SJ.
Angela told me I have to start off with an apology.
He botched the name of the song. It's Maple Latte.
Maple latte. So I didn't have it in English, right? It says maple latte. Now that you told, I was like, I told our producer, I was like, what is maple latte? What's a maple latte? Maple latte. What's a maple latte? Because I have it in Korean. I thought it was like.
So it's very fitting for coffee break.
I know.
Maple
It was supposed to be very fitting for coffee break, but I was like, what's a maple latte? I thought it was like Spanish or something.
This just shows how uncultured you are, SJ.
I didn't even know there was a maple latte.
See, you haven't watched Back to the Future. You
No.
haven't even had a maple latte before. And our producer is saying you should study some Korean.
I went to 한글학교, okay, in New York. I went to 한글학교. My Korean is good enough. I'm telling you, these titles
Nothing
are.
wrong with maple latte. It's a perfectly okay title.
I apologize to all the people of Day 6 and Canada, apparently. Apparently Canadians be drinking maple lattes. Now I know. Now I know.
I know. Today's tidbit.
Of all the songs that I butcher, it's Day 6, and Angela's a big fan of Day 6. What's today's tidbit, Angela?
So this Sunday, April 20th, is Disabled Persons Day in South Korea, so I wanted to talk about that. It's a day meant to raise awareness and promote rehabilitation and inclusion for people with disabilities, and it's specifically only to South Korea. International Day of Persons with Disabilities is on December 3rd.
Okay, maybe we're going to find out why it's April 20th in the first place. But when did this start, though?
So, okay, officially in 1981,
Wow.
that was the first year the Korean government celebrated Disabled Persons Day, because that year the UN had declared it the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, and Korea joined in by holding its first nationwide event. But interestingly, the movement actually started even earlier. So way back in 1972, a civil group in South Korea launched what was called Rehabilitation Day, or Teoare 날, on April 20th. And so that carried on, and in 1991, that April 20th was legally designated as an official national day through Korea's Act on Welfare of Persons with Disabilities. So officially it's not so long ago, but unofficially it has a history.
Like it's interesting because like I feel like it's different with Day of Disabled, like a Disabled Persons Day and Rehabilitation Day, because
Yes.
rehabilitation doesn't necessarily mean you're disabled.
Yeah, so the 1991 legal designated day is more encompassing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
that's why I was like, wow, 1972, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're going very early with this, but it's not necessarily for the disabled. But like you said, 1991, which, like you said, I mean, 1991 sounds like forever, but it is not too long ago.
Yes.
But I'm assuming that there are many events happening to commemorate this very day.
Events across the country happen nationwide, including like sports competitions for disabled persons, award ceremonies, public campaigns, even musical performances, all aiming to promote disability rights and visibility. Also, some national broadcasting also make like dramas specifically for disabled persons every year, so that also happens too.
Yeah, there was, what I liked was nowadays in dramas, they're showing more people with disabilities.
Yes,
And
but
one
we're
of
going to get into that.
we are?
Yes.
We're going to talk about the drama that I like.
What drama?
No, the few dramas that I watch.
Okay, maybe.
We'll talk about it when we do dramas, maybe not. But I have to say, though, since you mentioned sports competitions, like, you know how there's the Olympics and the Paralympics?
Yes.
I actually enjoy watching Paralympics
Yeah, me
because
too.
there's a sport that I really like.
What is it?
Volleyball.
Oh.
So they're all paraplegic, and so there's they're on basically on their butts, and they're playing volleyball, and it's so much harder
Oh, wow.
because you have to move around and you have to do the bump set, spike,
Yeah.
all that stuff together, and I really enjoy
Yeah.
watching this. And so
It's
I mean,
amazing, yes.
it's incredible what they're
Yes.
able to do. So disability policy, let's talk about this, right? There are a lot of people say that, there's still room for improvement still right now,
Definitely.
but it has grown on a lot here in Korea since 1991.
Yes, the 1991 law was definitely a turning point, not just by recognizing the day, but also reinforcing government responsibility. So I think that's really important. But more recently, we've seen Korean technology really play a growing role in accessibility.
Like how?
So like, AI, we can't leave it out these days. Things like AI tools for the visually impaired. And even this year, there was a law, the mandatory rollout of barrier-free kiosks for public use.
They're coming out with so many new technologies.
Yes, you can't keep up really.
Angela was just saying, like, you're not even that old. Like, she, when I was butchering the song, she's like, you're not even that old. You know how I feel old? Because there's new things that's popping up right now, especially when it comes to technology.
Yes.
Barrier-free kiosk. Like, well, what's a barrier-free kiosk?
So, like barrier-free is basically making things accessible for the disabled.
Okay.
So barrier-free kiosks are touchscreen ordering systems we see at fast food restaurants. Yeah. But they're redesigned so they can be used by people with disabilities or elderly customers as well. So they include things like Braille, voice prompts,
Braille?
yes, lower screens for wheelchair access, and even call buttons if help is needed.
Braille.
Yeah,
That's...
for the visually impaired.
Wow, at a touchscreen ordering system. That's
I think
pretty
that's
cool.
really cool, right?
Yeah, definitely so.
Yeah, and as of this year in South Korea, they're now mandatory in stores over 50 square meters.
Good stuff. But when there's like good stuff going on,
There's always a catch.
there's always a catch, right? There's a catch with this one
Yes, so apparently there's not enough supply to meet demand. Only a couple of companies actually manufacture these kiosks. I imagine they are difficult to make, with having to include all these technology.
Yeah.
But the government offers financial support, but it's not enough to cover every business. So many small shop owners are asking for more time or better funding.
Yeah, so I mean, this is like we often see protests happen amongst the disability
Yes.
groups, right? And it's not because Korea is not doing anything to improve the system, but they're saying that not enough is being done.
Yes, I definitely think more could be done.
Yeah, for sure. And so, I mean, this is one of those, right?
Yes, but even with these bumps, I think it's still a signal that South Korea is really taking, inclusion, not only digital inclusion, but all inclusion very more seriously. And one example of this is, have you ever seen those viral videos of sign language interpretation happening at concerts?
I have.
You
There was a rap concert going on,
Yes.
and she was rapping in sign language.
Yes, rapidly doing sign language.
That is crazy.
It is amazing. So they were really viral on social media, and South Korea is also taking part in that, by offering sign language interpretation at K-pop concerts, for BTS concerts, and IU also offered it. So in concerts, the interpreters help deaf fans enjoy lyrics and the emotions. And under South Korean law, deaf people can ask for concerts to offer sign language interpretation.
Really?
Yes.
So if they want to go to a concert, any concert, and they request that they want sign interpretation, they get sign language
So
service.
under law, legally, concert venues should offer it. But again, there's a catch. Offering doesn't actually always lead to the service being offered.
Yeah.
So I think we need to make this more known
Yeah.
for it to actually happen.
Benny says, I remember Daily K and K-pop in interview Big Ocean last year, and
right.
just last Monday, the CEO was on Daily K. What a lovely idea for her label, CEO Haley Chan. Benny, do you not remember? I was the first one to interview Haley. She was a personal friend of mine, and we brought her in to talk about Big Ocean.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember Big Ocean?
Yes. I think the head of that agency.
Yeah.
It was a friend of mine, Haley, and she's, we talked about
Yeah,
this.
I contacted her
What?
for the interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I told you about them. I was like, look into this, but this is cool stuff. And I will
Yes.
have to say, we talked about that viral video of the rap concert. If anybody can do a sign language on Eminem's Rap God, I want to see it. I just want to see it. I just want to put it out there. Good stuff here. We'll talk a little bit more about, again, April 20th being a Disabled Persons Day here in Korea and all the things that we're trying to do to raise awareness. But first, let's take a listen to a song here from Jung Jun-il with a song for you, 반짝이는 그대에게.
우리는 다른 시간 속에 헤매이다 만났지 수많은 사람들 중에서 그대를 알아보았지 같은 꿈을 꾸고 함께 할 수 잠을 돌아 이 길 끝에 사랑을 노래해요. 반짝이는 이 순간들을 당신께 모두 드릴 수 있죠. 놓치지 않게 그때까지 지켜줄게. 이제 헤어지면 돌아올 수 없는 잊혀져갈 추억 모두 그대에게 선물할게요. 반짝이는 이 순간들을 당신께 모두 드릴 수 있죠. 우리들의 작은 꿈들을 놓치지 않게 그때까지 어쩌면 그대 다시는 볼 수 없어도 언제까지 그대를 기억할게.
All right, that was Chung Jun-il with a song for you, 반짝이는 그대에게. Angela, we talked about policy and like tech related to kind of catering to those with disabilities. But what about disabilities represented in pop culture in South Korea? We're going to talk about this.
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, it's definitely improving. A great example we can't leave out Extraordinary Attorney Woo. The lead character Woo Young-woo is a lawyer on the autism spectrum, and she's portrayed with both brilliance and vulnerability. So it's really breaking away from old stereotypes. And another recent drama, actually the song we just heard, was a original soundtrack from this drama, Twinkling Watermelon or 반짝이는 Watermelon. It's actually Korea's first to feature a coda. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what a coda is.
Coda is a child of deaf adults.
Oh.
And in the drama, the main character is a coda. So the drama uses music and fantasy, explore communication between hearing and non-hearing world. And so in South Korean dramas, we're seeing a lot more disabled people being represented on screen.
Yeah, you know how I was saying, like, one of the few dramas I watched, there was a disabled character in that. And it happens to be a drama that Park Eun-bin comes out in.
Also stars in.
Stove League.
Yes.
There's a person who works with the team and he has a wheelchair and things like that. And they show little things like how they don't have wheelchair accessible areas and they point out all the things regarding this. But if I remember correctly, I remember seeing like sign languages like in news too, right?
Yeah, so in South Korea now you can see sign language in the corner on news programs. Earlier this year, SBS also aired a news segment about a blizzard in the US and the sign language interpreter went viral. Like people said his performance was so vivid that they could just understand without even, hearing the news. So yes, sign language is getting more recognition these days.
So tell us about sign language and the recognition that it's getting right now. Is it widespread though?
Yes, yes and no. It's gaining respect, but obviously there are still issues. For example, a drama recently got in trouble for mocking a sign during a news scene. So, it caused enough outrage that Korea's broadcast regulator launched a formal review. But I think it's good news that these discussions are happening and people are paying attention.
What about with those with visual impairments though?
Oh yeah, so actor Park Jo-min's publishing company just launched a listening novel project for the visually impaired. And what is unique is that the story was written specifically to be listened to and not just read. So instead of just converting a paper book into an audio version, they wrote the entire script with the audio experience in mind, meaning that there's more dialogue and it's paced for listening. And the audiobook was donated to the National Library for the Disabled and will be available on platforms later this month. A physical copy will also be coming next month as well.
All right, so we're talking about how there is room for improvement, but where does Korea stand now compared to some other countries?
Well, yeah, as we mentioned, Korea still has a long way to go, but I think, I want to mention the positive things, like things with the Korean Sign Language Act passed in 2016. A lot of effort is happening, and accessibility, is no longer just a policy. We can actually see things changing and happening. It's becoming part of culture, so I think that's really positive.
And we have a lawmaker who has a disability,
Yes,
right?
we also have that as well.
We talked about this before. I mean, again, it's just not just about a single day, right? I think we need to bring about more awareness to those that are disabled.
Yes, and it's really about recognizing everyone's right to participate in society. So yes, I think it's a day we really should remember.
Good stuff, Angela. Loved today's tidbit. Thank you so much. Have a safe rest of your night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, sending around to the studio. Let's take a listen to a song here from Standing Egg with Your Precious 그대가 소중해.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit on this Friday, April 18th. Angela joins us in the studio. Angela, hello to you.
Hi SJ, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. You have plans for a weekend?
Not really, but I'm just glad the weekend is
But you're
coming.
like a power J though.
Yeah.
Like you plan ahead.
Yeah, so my plans, to be honest, I do have plans.
Oh, you just don't want to tell me. You just don't want to tell me. She got some hot fire stuff going
I have plans
on.
to rest.
You liar. You're gonna have fun out there. You just don't want to tell everyone that you're gonna have fun. Anyways, welcome back. What random tidbit are we gonna be talking about today?
Let me give you a hint.
All right.
Do you know who Johnny Kim is?
I know 5 Johnny Kims back in New York,
Really?
but I know what Johnny Kim you're talking about.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this.
What?
He is every Asian's worst enemy.
Oh, yeah, true.
All right? I know who Johnny Kim is, but I'm glad my mom doesn't know who Johnny Kim is.
Are you sure?
Yes. I'm hoping my mom doesn't know who Johnny Kim is because no matter what accomplishment I have, it's never going to be enough if you compare it to Johnny Kim.
Well, not even to Asians. I think just to mankind everywhere. So the Johnny Kim we are talking about is a Korean American astronaut who just on April 9th made history as the first Korean American to arrive at the International Space Station.
Yes.
Yes.
As much as I want to applaud him, it's a great accomplishment. It's great stuff that you're doing. But again, you're every Asian person's enemy here.
And the reason for that is because Johnny Kim, before becoming an astronaut, was a Navy SEAL, a flight surgeon, and a Harvard-trained doctor
Yes.
all at once, and he's only 41 years old.
And he decided, he's like, man, I'm bored with this stuff. Let me go to space and be an
Yeah.
astronaut because, anybody can be an astronaut, right?
Right.
Wrong. But what's he doing up there, though?
So he's going to be spending 8 months aboard the International Space Station conducting scientific investigations and technology demonstrations before returning to Earth back this December. And wow, yeah, amazing guy. But I thought his story came in perfect timing for today's tidbit. That's
Why?
why I opened, because I want to talk about Science Day.
Okay, when's Science Day?
Science Day in South Korea is coming up this Sunday on April 21st.
Monday. 21st.
Oh, yes.
Remember how
Monday.
yesterday we were talking about Disabled Day? That was
Right.
Sunday. That's the 20th, right? Monday.
Right. Thank you for catching that.
Sunday U.S. time, but
Yeah.
Monday Korea
I
time.
mean, I know we've been talking about a lot of days recently, but I think, April is just that kind of month. And
You know what I think it
they're all
is?
meaningful.
There was so many days, and then there was like no days in April. Now we're trying to find days right now. We're trying to find like May. There's going to be many days.
Yes. I mean, like May is the month for like family occasions, right? April should have something too.
April.
Besides April Fool's Day.
What can April be? But April is also considered Science Month?
Yes. So, story behind Science Day, a little history trip
Okay.
again. It officially started in 1967 to celebrate the launch of Korea's first Ministry of Science and Technology. But here's something most people don't know, and that's maybe today's tidbit. The first ever Science Day actually dates back to 1934 during the Japanese colonial period.
34. Holy
Yes.
cow.
So back then it was actually called 과학 Day. I mean, in Korean it's the same, but slightly. I mean, in English it's the same, but in Korean slightly different. And it was organized by a group called the Invention Society to honor Charles Darwin's death anniversary on April 19th. And this group was actually really ahead of its time because they aimed to fight superstition, spread scientific knowledge, and encourage literacy. And so, what?
I just realized,
Uh-huh.
I completely forgot. April has Easter.
Right.
Made it up says besides Easter, you mean? And then
Well, yes. but-
anyways, yeah, I haven't celebrated Easter in a really long time. But anyways, yeah. So with science, right? I know there's a what is this big science museum like 20 minutes from where I live in Gwacheon.
Oh, yes.
Great place to go with your kids. Spend a lot of time there. But are there any events that's happening this year for Science Day?
Oh, well, a lot of events are happening. Just to name a few, Gangnam District is hosting
Gangnam District?
Yes,
Wow.
a 우주광 magic show, a space science magic show for families, featuring constellation-themed tricks, laser auroras, planet illusions. So if you have kids, maybe you want to take them there. And also, as you mentioned, Gwacheon National Science Museum is also kicking off a new event series called the Dome Concert. Have you heard of it?
I know there's a dome there. There's
yeah.
a massive dome there.
Yes.
But last time I went, it was closed for renovations. But
Well, it's opening.
Okay.
Maybe you want to take your son there. It's a mix of, the Dome Concert is a mix of immersive visuals and science lectures, all projected on the 25-meter dome ceiling. And the first one, Dome Concert, is going to be about aliens. So, interesting topic.
Aryans?
Alien.
Aryans? Really?
Aliens.
I know. Aliens, really?
Yes.
Oh?
So the opening talk is going to be on the possibility of extraterrestrial life hosted by two astronomers. I actually want to go there if I have the time. It sounds fun.
Do you believe in aliens?
I do.
I do believe in
Yeah.
aliens.
Because, it's kind of, and I actually saw an article as I was coming to work today. A scientist found a sign of life in a different galaxy.
How do they do that?
So, they found some microbes that only exist for, if there is life. Mm-hmm. And they found that, and I think
From another galaxy?
Yeah,
How do they
from
find it
another
from another galaxy? Was it from an asteroid or something like that?
I don't know. I didn't read the full article.
Galaxy's pretty far away. I'm just telling you
but-
right now.
But it's the first sign of life in a different,
You know what?
galaxy.
Okay, so this could be controversial, right? And especially because people are talking about Easter right now. Easter is a religious holiday, and so that's why I meant a national holiday
Yeah.
here. People don't have off on Easter here in Korea, but so I used to go to church, right?
Yeah.
'cause
Actually, I didn't know that, but okay.
Okay, so I used to go to church, right? Back when I was in New York, because most Koreans go to church, and even with this, I had a back and forth with my pastor because I was there's got to be aliens.
Yes.
Because, right? There's got to be another galaxy somewhere where there is a sun, like a star,
Yeah.
that is the same size as our sun
Yeah.
with like a planet.
Because the galaxy is infinite.
Yeah. There's so many galaxies out
the
there.
possibilities are endless.
It's just that it's so far away that it's impossible for those aliens to travel to the next galaxy, despite whatever light year speed that they're going to go in through. And so you're just not going to see it. But I believe there's aliens.
Yes.
It's just a big question is, how do they look? Dun dun dun. Oh, made it up so they detect the chemicals or elements which are required for life
Yes.
on Earth is what it is.
Isn't that amazing?
I think it's amazing. I like this.
The scientific, developments that make this all possible.
But you know what the other thing is
What?
since we're on this topic, right? Korea, although they've always had like a lot of these science-related events and stuff like that, talks of like alien, extraterrestrial is kind of rare. They don't really get into that stuff.
Yeah.
And so like for them to actually cover aliens and extraterrestrial life, I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're gonna have a series of dome concerts, so you might want to check out the website to see what they're gonna talk about.
Johnny Kim might not be human. Johnny Kim might actually be an extraterrestrial.
Or maybe he's just like superhuman.
He might be. He's not normal human. I'll just put it
Right.
at supernova.
Su.
I know the dance. Am I doing it right? This is a supernova dance, right? Or is it the chunky monkey dance?
I have no idea. Like, even if that was the correct dance, you're doing a horrible job of it.
Hey,
I
calling
wouldn't
on
know.
all our K-pop experts. Am I doing the supernova dance correctly? Let me know. You talked about Science Day, right? Kwahak Day, and how it was organized to honor Charles Darwin's death anniversary and things like
Yes.
that. And then you talked about how it started a long time ago, but I
Yes.
wonder if there was any kind of changes that happened during like the Japanese colonial times.
Well, before it was shut down by the Japanese authorities in 1938, Korea's first science magazine actually came out in 1933 as well, 과학 조선 Science 조선, and it published everything from scientific essays, to even early scientific fiction. So that was really cool, I thought, and that was really the beginning of Korea's science popularization.
What is 과학 조선?
과학 조선?
Yes.
That's the magazine.
Oh, that's the magazine.
Yeah, that's
wow.
the title of the magazine. And you know how there's like a...
There was magazines back then?
Yes.
Wow.
But like everything, it didn't last for long, only about like 5 years.
Okay.
But I think that's really the beginning. And then it reemerged in 1967, in modern times. And these days there are also a lot of science magazines for children. I read one when I was young as well. So maybe it takes from the Joseon era.
We talked about all the events that are happening as well to mark Science Day. Magic shows, dome concerts, talks
Yes.
about aliens. But look, Korea's not just celebrating it,
Yes.
right? I mean, we're actually exploring space now.
Yes. I wanted, like, if you think of space exploration, can you name one event in South Korea that was really big?
Oh, in South Korea. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, she's going to ask me in the world. The Tanuri.
Yes,
Right?
let's talk about Tanuri. It's
Okay.
Korea's first lunar orbiter, also known as Korea Pathfinder Lunar Orbiter, or KPLO. It was launched in August 2022 and successfully entered lunar orbit in December that year. And it was actually initially planned as a one-year mission, but because it's been running so efficiently and it's been so successful, the mission actually has now been extended all the way to 2027.
So, what's Tanuri doing now? It's been almost 3 years now.
Yeah, so it's capturing high-resolution images of the moon, especially areas that could become landing sites, because Korea's long-term goal is to send a lunar lander by 2032,
Right.
and Tanuri is playing a key role in preparing for that. And what's really interesting is once the mission is complete, Tanuri will be deliberately crashed into the moon's surface to avoid space debris.
Deliberately?
Yes.
It's like billions of dollars just being...
I mean, but like it's intentionally, but there's actually science behind it as well.
Okay.
When NASA did a similar mission in 2009, they discovered traces of water on the moon by analyzing the dust kicked up by the crash. So like it's not just throwing millions of dollars away into space, it's actually the final impact has it's actually part of the discovery.
So,
Why?
because I mean, it's so much money, right?
Yes.
It's so much money for the things that they're doing for discovery and things like that. And I'm kind of wondering, like, they're trying, if they discover traces of water on the moon, are they going to say that, well, back before there used to be life? Because anytime you find water
Yes.
anywhere in space,
It means there's life.
there could be life,
Yes.
right? And so now people go like, okay, then does that mean that if you look at like the craters and stuff like that, some look like it could have long time ago it could have been something.
volcanoes
Yeah,
or
or like if you look at Mars, right? They go like, oh, that looks like what could have been a river, for instance.
Yes.
And so like, are they looking for life? Or are they looking for a possibility of being able to build life later on?
Well, I think it's both. Like if there was life on the moon or other planets, I guess it means you could also rebuild life there, right?
But no oxygen, though.
Well, science. That's why science development, scientific achievements are so big. Maybe science will make atmosphere change possible or something. I don't know.
We're losing atmosphere right now from all the pollution right now. I don't know if you know how to make atmosphere, if you know how to heal atmosphere, let us know, because, forget the moon or Mars right now.
Yeah.
We need some of that stuff on Earth. But I know that South Korea right now, what I like about this, what's cool about this, South Korea is very, very, I don't want to use the word late. They couldn't get into space exploration for a long time because it wasn't until I believe the U.S. lifted the restrictions on ballistic missiles, right?
Yes, that's true.
And so it needs ballistic missile technology in order for them to send out all these rockets and
it's
stuff.
rocket science.
Yeah. And so they lifted that restriction not too long ago. And the very first kind of project they did was Tanuri, right?
Exactly. That's why Tanuri was only sent off in 2022.
Yeah.
And that's why they're aiming for 2032. It's really late if you think about like the Western nations sending rockets to the moon for the first time. Like
Yeah.
in the 60s, was it?
Yes, I mean, although there's some controversies with
Okay.
whether or not the U.S. did actually land on moon, the first to land on the moon and stuff like that. There's controversies.
Do you believe in it?
I don't know.
There's actually a movie about it if you want to check it out.
I mean, you're gonna call me uncultured again, but I probably didn't watch that movie. But I have to say though, it's probably not going to be too far into the future when
Yes.
people are going to eventually like end up going to Mars, right? There's like a list of people who actually signed up
Oh, yes.
to be the first Martians.
Yes, and I actually remember also recently, like now, not just astronauts, but like normal people or people with a lot of money, they can go into space. You mentioned
Recently,
it. Yes,
recently, all
you
these rich
mentioned it,
people
right? You
go to space for
recently
11 minutes.
mentioned it, yes. So really, it sounds very futuristic. We talk about a lot of futuristic stuff on
Yes.
this show, but actually it's all now. The future is happening.
The future is now. If you had the chance, Angela, and they said for free, we'll send you to Mars to build a civilization there, would you go to Mars?
No.
Why? Because Day 6 is not there?
No, because
What if
like,
Day 6 is going too?
go. I don't care. Like, I like Earth.
The Earth is slowly rotting right now.
That's why I use my tumblers and, I try to not use a lot of plastic and paper.
That's right. It's not because she wants sponsorship from Spucks, but she's trying to save the Earth
I
one
love
day
our
at a
Earth.
time.
Yes.
Before I let you go, Angela, I have to read this. Made It Up over in London says, I love how brutal Angela is, the way that she says, low-key, SJ, you have no culture. Say it. I'll let you say it again.
Well, I mean, okay, you were a little bit uncultured. You admit it. I mean, if you watch Back to the Future and maybe I'll change my mind.
Angela, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you again on Monday.
See you on Monday.
Sending out of the studio, let's take a listen to a song here from Hyorin and Changmo, produced by Groovy Room. This is Blue Moon.